What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Entrepreneurship Sucks podcast with Kevin and Josh. Today, we've got a super special guest to interview for you today, Mr. Christian Davis. He's a master at making money with email. So he works with a lot of super huge players. Not going to mention who. I'll let him kind of divulge that information, but dude's a wizard, and we're super excited to interview him. We just got back from FHL. We hung out with him for about 3 days in person. First place that we met him, and decided to have him on the podcast because we think that you guys can get a ton of value from what this man has to share. Christian, how you feeling today, man?
Hey, what's good, guys? Thank you so much for having me. These are always a blast.
Yeah, man, we're happy to have you. We had a great time together in person. I think that we're gonna have a good episode for our audience here together. So let's get right into it, man. We like to ask our guests the same question every time to kind of kick things off. We already kind of discussed a little bit before we started recording about, like, what's your interpretation of entrepreneurship sucks, man? Every time we invite people on, they have like a different perspective, and we love to hear it.
Oh, yeah. So initially, I thought it was pretty funny and clever because it's sort of like bad marketing with Eddie Malouf stuff, and actually Tyler and I, like the guy who I crushed that giant Hermosi promo with, like we were laughing hysterically about like not so good marketing that's actually been out like way before bad marketing. And so you guys are like doing something way different. Like you're going way harder, more hardcore, like entrepreneurship sucks. And you know what? It's funny because it's kind of tongue in cheek. Like, yes, it sucks. Like you'd have to be fucking crazy to put yourself through this shit, but we still do it every day and we love it. So yeah, it's a fun time. Let me crack open this right here.
Go for it. Yeah.
You're good, man.
As you know, like that's the whole premise of what we like to dig into with people here, man. We like to talk about your journey, the hardest shit that you've been through on your journey, and how overcoming it turned you into a savage at the level that you're at now.
Wow. Yeah, man.
Hope you're ready, man.
Jeez, I hope you guys are ready for this.
Yeah. So can we kick it off with your origin story, bro? I'd love to hear where your roots started from, and then work into where you're at now.
Well, I met his dad on the call
exactly.
yesterday, so I kind of have an idea of where his roots came from, but I'll let him tell it.
One dude.
I'll have to come back.
I met your dad on the coaching call yesterday. I hopped in because Bill was on the call, and I was like, I had a couple minutes. I hopped in, and I'm like, oh, dude, Christian's dad's here. All right, let's go.
Wait, you're not capping. That's hilarious. He was there. No, yeah. Actually, he made life like a lot easier for me, and so I owe him a lot in that regard. But then I couldn't help but think that there was more to life on my own. And so when I left his house, I started off like, having minimum wage jobs here and there, like shitty, but what really molded me into the person I am today was working at Costco and scraping rotten chicken grease there. And you love Costco. If you're listening, I love you too.
No, dude.
Idiocracy reference.
Idiocracy. The Costco in the future is like 2030, and there's like this like fat dude greeting, and what he says to everybody is "Welcome to Costco. I love you," and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like I was stuck in the past for sure. Just like wanting nothing but my future to be created. So yeah, I mean, I had an apartment with bed bugs. They're eating me alive every night. And then homeless people on my front porch. Like, I remember trying to open my front door and just seeing this lady like there screaming with her teeth rotted out, like, I want dicks. Ah. I'm just like, no one's going to believe me when I say this. But okay. Like,
We all know you gave it to her.
I was like, get out of my way, bitch. I need to get to my shitty job. So I
didn't
snuck.
have anything else to donate to her at the time. So
So I donated all I had, which was
exactly.
you know what. So it was free. And then anyway, I really didn't have money. So I had to sneak on the train every day to save like about $2, which sucked. And then
in style jumping is crazy. What city were you in?
Yeah, so I was in Portland, Oregon. Okay. So it was actually really easy to get on the train without it, but you would I would have to dodge like the police if they were on there. I'd have to get off really fast and keep my eyes open. And, like, it's just not ideal. But it was like, had no choice. It felt like at the time. And so I'm working at Costco, and it's like, it sounds not that bad, but actually it was like a lot of like corrosive chemicals and just like thankless labor, like just managers screaming at you the entire time. Like, we've all had jobs like that, right? And then I actually got this skin melting chemical in my eye one day, and my homie that worked with me, yeah, he got it on his plastic smock. It burned through the apron, it burned through the white smock, and then it burned through his shirt and made his nipples black. And so I got this thing on my eye here, and I'm like, oh. I called the doctor, and I'm like rinsing my eye out like crazy. I'm like, I can't really see straight. I'm like, am I ever going to see again, like, out of this eye? And he's like, son, I don't know. That was a nasty chemical. And so I just feel like defeated. I'm like, dang, this is not what I thought it would be, but I'm grateful for it in the end.
You sued
Also,
Costco and
like,
became a millionaire. That's your claim to fame?
and that's my first business.
Yeah.
I love you, Costco. Thank you for poisoning my eye.
And yeah, so that was less than ideal. I also had to run 2 miles every day to the bus stop, and then take a bus and a train. And it would take like 2 hours each way. And so I was waking up at 3:30 in the morning just to get there, and also work on my entrepreneurship and my side hustles beforehand, which molded who I was. I actually had this trick back then to prevent me from like getting weak and falling back asleep. I would like mix pre-workout and like put it on my nightstand. And then I'd put my alarm next to my light switch, which had like daylight spectrum bulbs. So it'd be a super obnoxious alarm, like a foghorn, super loud. So I'd have to get up, be like, flick the light on, drink the pre-workout, and be like, okay, even if I wanted to go back to sleep, I fucking can't.
Me driving around
You
the
wouldn't be able to.
cyber truck, right? Like, dude, all day long in the cyber truck, I'm like, meh, 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 meh. Fucking annoying.
That's hilarious. Dude, we got to take a ride sometime.
Yeah, dude.
And yeah, anyway, I saved every penny I had. I mean, I didn't even use seasoning on my food like salt and pepper because I didn't want to spend 50 cents. And so I put every single penny I had into learning marketing. So courses, spending money on ads, etc. Started drop shipping. And then eventually I discovered a course on how to publish books. And today it's called publishing.com, but I bought it. I was one of the first students in there. And then I published 3 books while working Costco full time. Like, I actually wrote them myself and everything. That gave me a hint of like what I wanted to do the rest of my life. Because up to this point, I actually hated writing. Like, I would try to convince my mom to help me like write my papers in school, or beg her to, and not get the best grades. But then I actually realized like I love writing. This made me realize how fun it was, because I actually wrote one of my first books like on shrooms. And that like gave me so much passion and joy for it. It's actually called Find Your Passion. It's on Amazon right now by Chandler Kitching. That's my pen name.
Nice.
You said your
I
pimp
actually
name?
remember.
It's pen
Yeah, it's
name.
my pimp pen name. And I actually climbed up on top of a forestry tower, like on LSD, like illegally in like the middle of like a lightning storm, and just started like screaming and crying like tears of joy. I'm just like, yes, I fucking love writing.
Dude, that reminds me of something that Jim Carrey did. He did something similar at the one of the very lowest points of his career. He said he did something atrociously crazy, like climb on top of a building, look out into the night sky, and start screaming at himself like positive affirmations until he felt vibrationally aligned with where he was wanting to go.
Whoa.
And then
Was he
from
gonna
that
like,
point, his life shifted.
One of the other things he did is he wrote himself a check for $20 million when he was living in his car in LA. And then he ended up getting that check for $20 million for his first movie, which I think was like Ace Ventura.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What a legend. So he was depressed before and he climbed on top of a building, maybe to off himself, who knows, but then he just screams positive
I
affirmations and
can't
corrects his life.
exactly. I can't remember the exact like details of the story, but it was something kind of similar to yours. I don't think he was on shrooms though.
Yeah, LSD, but whatever.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Any,
LSD, which is actually arguably worse than shrooms in my opinion. But
yeah, I'm actually sober now. But anyway,
good.
so
I want to come back to that after you're done telling your initial story.
yeah. I meet a mentor who tells me that I should get into copywriting because I can make more. Like with the books, I'm only making like $300 a month, but I film myself while I'm quitting Costco and I'm like literally on camera speaking to myself. I'm saying, I am making $300 a month. I will be a millionaire. I will quit my job and travel the world and basically the life I have now. And now I have that video on my Instagram before and after, which feels really good. But I get to Mexico and I choose the wrong place to live. I messed up. Like I'm in like a cartel infested ghetto, like bars on my windows, like fucking barbed wire on the fence, like shootings, like at least a few a week. I try to go running at 6 a.m, like any freaking white dude. And the National Guardia, like in a giant like pickup truck with a minigun and a bunch of AKs, like skirts next to me and like bound my hands behind me. And they're like, you must be running from something dangerous. Like, are you up to no good? I'm like, no, dude, I'm correo para ejercicio. I'm like running for exercise. They're like, dude, like you must be cap. Like you're so full of it. And yeah, so I worked for a mentor for free out there. I would work for him for free, and then I had my first copy job making $2.90 an hour. And in exchange for working for him for free, he critiqued my work so that I could turn in decent work for that job. And yeah, it's just really rough. Like I feel like I have a really low point in my life, but I met this like fake abundance guru who I actually found out was flat broke, but he was teaching me how to be a millionaire. There's so many side stories. This is so
So
funny.
typical, man.
Yeah, dude, he confessed everything a year later. And he's like, dude, yeah, I know I told you to stop working and that you'd make more money and to stop looking at the price of stuff and just start spending all your money, even though you're going into credit card debt in a cartel infested ghetto. But I was actually going broke too. I know I was flexing on you like with those fancy steak dinners and the wines, but I was like going broke in a third world country.
Just what, trying to earn your like clout?
I don't know, dude. Whenever he was like trying to figure out the coaching game, but whenever he'd raise his price on me, he'd be like, hey, what did we talk about? Like, do we have abundance blocks? Like, obviously, you need my services more.
It's like, hey, did you eat your vegetables?
Yeah. I'm like, ah, oh, nah, screw you. And anyway, I was at his meetup actually. He is part of the story. And then because I met someone who's doing email copywriting, email marketing at the meetup. And he's like says he's busy writing 4 emails a day. And for anybody that writes knows that's fucking nothing. And he's treating me like I'm a pain in the ass. And all I'm saying is, bro, just tell me the name of the mother effing course so I can get in there and change my life and get out of this freaking ghetto with you guys. And eventually he gets back to me, treats me like a pain in the ass. And fast forward to today, it's kind of funny. He's like applying to work for me and like begging me for the social proof I have. He's like, dude, I'm still stuck in the ghetto. Like, like, please, like,
And you
let
had
me
already escaped it?
this is years later. I had already escaped it and I'm like crushing his
Nice.
numbers every month. And I'm like, yeah, nah, dude, not this time. But anyway, I get into the sales call with the closer for this like 4 to 5K email marketing course or even a copy course. It actually sucked because it was only about copy. And mine's about like the tech and strategy and copy, like everything you need to actually get clients. But anyway, so this one, I stopped the sales guy mid pitch. I'm like, listen, bro, stop right there. Like, I wanted to do this yesterday. Okay. So if you could just take my credit card now, run it, I don't care, get me into the program, I'll get started right now. I'll get a client right now. And so that's what I did. I immediately got in, viciously started taking action, got my first client in 2 weeks, and then it was just uphill from there.
What's up, man?
But yeah, I mean, that's the attitude you have to have. And so now I'm in a powerful position on sales calls because I'm just like, look, I've been in your shoes. I've been going so hard negative into credit card debt, but I like believed in myself and I knew I could do this. And I thought long term where I'm going to be. And let me tell you what, like nothing feels better than like, I mean, literally to the month 4 years ago, I was watching a VSL in Mexico in the ghetto, and the guy's explaining his life. Like, I retired my parents, I live in a penthouse, I travel the world of 5-star resorts, all this stuff. I'm just travel the world, have freedom. Now I look around, I'm like, yes, I finally got that for myself. And now I can give that gift back to people. It's crazy, man.
Mm.
That was 4 years
So I got a
ago.
couple.
You took on your first client. Sorry, Josh.
You're good.
So like, what was the main thing? Like, what was the main thing in that moment? Obviously, the pain, the suffering. Like, this fucking sucks. I got to make a drastic change, and you took massive action. What do you think changed in you at that moment or in that period of time?
Well, my entire life I had been like playing small and kind of scared, like the kind of guy who will play sports in high school but be scared to take the shot and look bad in case he might miss or whatever. And so it just, that haunted me for a lot of my life. And I'm like, I'm tired of being the pussy who doesn't take his shot and like make this fucking happen. And so I that's the attitude I just decided. I'm like, whatever, it's do or die at this point. Like, someone broke into my courtyard at 3 a.m. This was kind of the moment I knew I had to man up.
Mm.
And I like flick my lights on, slam my body against the door, and I just pray he's not going to break in there and try to mess with me. I don't know what he wants. Probably just my bicycle outside, which ended up going missing.
Mhm.
And I knew at that moment, I'm like, I have to get my shit together and get out of here. And so it just gave me a surge of courage that I never had in my entire life. And yeah, so I got the first client, and then my second client was actually what made me really skyrocket. It was I noticed this guy online named Stephen Georgie, and he was the best copywriter at the time, charging like $100K a sales letter. He has a mastermind called Copy Accelerator. It's $3K. It's an event that you show up for. I put that on a credit card. I fly out there on a credit card. And I'm just like seeing a bunch of ones everywhere. Like, it's 111 degrees outside. My flight's an hour and 11 minutes. Like, the flight, yeah, it was just crazy. Like, someone next to me pulled up their phone and said 111. And then I get to my Airbnb and the password to my door is like 111. I'm like, this is wonky. Like, and I looked it up on Google, and I'm like, lots of hippies believe like this means like new beginnings, but
Yep.
it's hard to explain. Like, I felt in my heart that like every cell in my body was being drawn to this location. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like my life's about to change. I feel like I'm about to get really freaking lucky right now. I don't know. And then I get there to the event, and I notice a guy who's hiring, and I approach him at the event. I dap him up. I say, what's up, dog? I want to make you mother effing rich. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this happen. I have some experience with marketing. I took this course and I've done lots of reps, and just give me a shot. And so he told me, all right, fine, we'll give you a shot. Like, you can move into my house and my gated community, like a big mansion with me and my boy. We're both making $200 to $400K a month with email and ads. And we have a bunch of exotics and McLarens and like Bentleys and Ashtons out front. And you can sleep under your desk and learn from us and work for us. I'm like, I'm all in. I don't care. Like, so I like left my girlfriend at the time, which I loved deeply. We were together for 4.5 years, but like, I just went all freaking in on this. I didn't really care what I had to do. because I knew the pain of like what was on back for me if I didn't make this work. And then so, yeah, then for 531 days, I wrote 7 to 13 emails and sent them for really big clients and just gathered the data on it. And it just sharpened me up and prepared me for eventually when I left him and launched my own agency.
Yeah. And that, dude, that proximity of vibration to their abundance was extremely powerful for you as like a shift, right?
Oh, oh man,
Yeah.
bro, it's everything. Like, I mean, just seeing this kid, like I actually got there when one of them went from 30K a month to 630K a month with this ad script template he was selling for his front end with a low ticket funnel, and then calling him and closing him high ticket. And whoa, like he had like bust down rollies and stuff. He had strippers over all the time. He's in the McLaren. He's just like this nerdy white kid who just got loaded like almost overnight.
And
And
it like
that
instantly
changed everything.
expands your paradigm, right? It's like, oh shit, like this is right in front of me, right? It's no longer this like I want to become a millionaire. It's like I'm watching people become millionaires and I'm next. And I'm willing
Yeah,
to do
like I'm
what
a baby
it
if I
takes.
don't.
Yep.
Yep.
It's dope.
And then, yeah, I launched my own. I don't really call it an agency. It's just me and some proteges. They're just like an extension of me, and everything runs through me. And like I'm very cultivating about who I bring into my circle and work with. But whoever gets close to me gets their life transformed. I've worked with some of the biggest 9 to 12 figure clients in the game, including two of the Alex and Layla Hermosi's like biggest acquisition clients. And then also winning the affiliate competition, the #1 spot for Alex Hermosi's book, $100 million Leads. Like absolutely crushed the second person by 30%. It's like a global
Oh,
competition, all through email, all my strategy.
so
And then, yeah, lots of stuff. Like I wrote 3 funnels for one of Alex's companies that made him 8.8 mil. Just got my 2 Comma Club award for that. Tyler Birdie helped me design the pages. I wrote the entire funnel minus the ads.
Shout out to Tyler Birdie. He's a
Shout
beast,
out.
man.
it's funny. I just remember the other day you put that post up and it was like a Slack screenshot and it was like Layla's avatar and you're like, so the secret client of mine. I was like, dude, you're such an idiot. Like low key flex. Like you didn't even blur her out.
Yeah, I mean, she did say that she can't stop reading my copy, and that she loves it. And
I do.
that's like, yeah, a much smaller client.
Dude,
I have
having
other
your
clients
copy
that
be
like,
her leisure reading is like that's the flex right there, dude. Love it.
yeah, it's been a long, wild road, but yeah, that's just a small sliver of my clients. I also have worked with Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels, and a much way bigger self development guru who like owns an island and is giant. Like you definitely know him, but can't say who it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're kind of, getting out of the weeds of like the depressing part of your journey. Like now we can kind of lighten the mood a little bit. There's no, now that we've cleaned up
Dude,
the
this
sidewalk of all the of all the toothless women and we can start actually talking about some fun stuff.
I don't really go that in depth, but this is called Entrepreneurship Sucks.
I
So there you
mean,
go.
gotta talk about it, man. And overcoming it. Like I'm a firm believer in the universe demands balance, and so it's no besides your work ethic, and I know how much of a savage you are and how good you are at what you do, but beyond that, like the universe demands balance, man. And you were at a low of lows that is lower than a lot of people have ever been through. And so like it's no surprise to me at the highs that you're at now because the universe demands balance, right? The pendulum swung way further in the negative direction for you, and it can only swing way further than most people in the opposite direction. So that's dope, man. So I'm curious, man, like, you and I always have fucking fun conversations. So, I want to know, like, tell me over the course of like, your journey so far on, working with some big clients and stuff, like, I always like to ask people like personal stories about, or like, just the funniest shit that has happened with like you and a client or somebody that like, like Eli Wild came on and he was like telling us a story about him and Tony Robbins and like just stuff that like people would never know unless it came straight from, the person who experienced it. So you got any of that good stuff? No,
Oh,
you do.
oh, of course, dude. I've worked with dozens of clients. Like I have, like one of the more wonky clients I've had was this abundance coach, another abundance coach. This guy was actually more legit, at least like with his marketing. So he has this like ancient forbidden head tapping ritual, like 4 second morning head tapping ritual that'll instantly help you manifest any amount of money you want and also help you like overcome any type of illness that you have. And that's the idea. I mean, obviously, I'm not writing copy like that, but
Are you
that's
still
his
are you
offer.
still head tapping for 4 minutes every day or no go?
Yeah, no, it's like basically, you want to know the secret? It's you like pant like a dog like this, and you like tap your head like this,
I know who you're talking about.
and yeah, yeah, and you like manifest like lots of money. It like brings it in, aligns you into who you are, and helps you out with that. And the guy's
Yeah,
actually a beast.
he
Like
spoke on stage at FHL.
this last one,
Yeah, Tyler.
dude, that he's a beast. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I loved his offer and helping him sell it. But anyway, that's not the secret 30K one. Like he's that's the front end. Okay. I gave you the front end. I'm allowed to share. But yeah, I've also, oh man. Oh, you know what? You meet some like psychos too along the way. Like if you ever find the cult of copy job board on Facebook, like don't go there because the clients are just as weird as it sounds.
Oh yeah, I I'm definitely a firm believer in the the energy of the leader transfers into what type of clients they attract. So
Oh man, you're not going to believe this. And as soon as I found out this wasn't like what I thought it was, I left, just to be extremely clear. But there's this guy who like thinks that it's okay to like sell magic mushrooms on the front end of Facebook through his email list, doing like 100K a month. And he swears that it's like fine and that it's like the DEA doesn't care and shit. But I'm like, he knows someone on the inside of Facebook, so that's why his ads are whitelisted. And then he can never find someone to write his emails because as soon as the guy finds out that you're like doing something pretty hardcore, they're like, I'm out. And that was me. I didn't know. I was kind of foolish. I was like, hey, do you want to, or he said, hey, do you want to help me build a funnel? He like kept it kind of vague and stuff. You want to help me? I'll rent a mansion on the side of the jungle in Costa Rica with the view of the ocean. All you have to do is build me a funnel for this thing. Then I get there and I find out the gravity of the situation I'm in. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm
dude,
fucking out of here.
selling narcotics through Facebook ads is wild. That is
That's not
wild.
even the craziest one, but that's like one of the more appropriate ones. But yeah, I used to work for an agency that didn't care about morality. They would just send clients my way. And so I would have to be like, no, I'm not doing this, dude. Like, would you sell your soul for 5K? Like, what the heck? Like, now I'm selective about who I work with. But yeah, there's all kinds of people out there.
It's wild. Holy shit. Hmm. Shrooms is your lead generation offer.
Yeah, it's interesting what's all out there and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, some funny stuff like I was hanging out at a bar with Eddie Malouf, Ryan McGinn, and Cole Gordon, and they're all just sharing like hilarious like college stories. And like for respect for the guys, I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but it's wild. Like a lot of us have a past, and we get into marketing because we're kind of just like going against the grain a bit and find what we love along the way. and then clean up our acts later. So like these big guys you see on stages, it's funny.
I met, so you're the one that actually invited me to that bad marketing event. So I met Eddie I think the day of the event. I was standing in the back of the back of FHL. I'm like, that's my spot, dude. Like when you go to FHL or events like that, you stand in the back of the room, you kind of have that like eagle's eye view. I'm like, all right, I'm here to get as many awesome podcast guests as possible. I'm not really here to like learn. And I actually like specifically like didn't want to learn because I'm like, things are working. I don't want to learn something that's gonna like put a monkey wrench in what's working for me right now. So, and I'm not trying to get shiny object syndrome. So I'm like hanging in the back of the room, dude. And over the course of like a 15-minute time frame, I'm talking to freaking Anik Singhal, and then I see Eddie, and I'm like texting my buddy Jimmy, who he works for ClickFunnels, and I didn't. I guess he was telling me we are talking about the event, and I didn't see Eddie yet. But he's like, dude, I went to college with Eddie. He's like, he's like, I don't have a suit, but I want to come to the event. I sent him the link to like be my guest to the event. And he's like, I'm just going to show up in a t-shirt and in jeans. He's like, Eddie will let me in. And so I'm voxing him. And I look over and I see Eddie, and I'm like, yo, I just walk up to Eddie. I put my hand on his shoulder. I'm like, I'm sorry to interrupt. He's talking to somebody. I'm like, look, Jimmy said he's going to crash your event tonight and not wear a suit. He's going to show up in a t-shirt and jeans. I'm like, what do you want me to tell him? And he goes, oh, dude, he's like, I love Jimmy, but he's like, I hired security for this event. He's not going to get in. I'm like, here, you just tell him. And he voxes him. He's like, Jimmy, you got to go get a suit. And so he's like, dude, what the hell? You're with him? I'm like, he's like, I didn't even know you knew him. I'm like, I didn't until you said that. And I went and found him. So that was dope. And then, dude,
Wow.
we're freaking, I think this is, yeah, like a couple hours before the event, like me, Joshua, and Josh 40 were hosting our own like networking event, like for 2 hours before the bad marketing event. And so now I gotta run across the street with Jimmy to go help him find a suit. It's freaking torrential downpours. I'm already in my suit. I'm wearing these freaking velvet hard bottom shoes that are like rented. They're like a half size too big. And I got to walk through this freaking river on Las Vegas Boulevard to get across the street to like, I don't know what it was. I think it was like the Caesars Shopping Center, which is basically like the Gucci, Fendi, Prada, Trader Joe's, which apparently like you have to go all the way through the entire place. There's no like in or out like a traditional mall or shopping center. You have to go through every store to get in and out. And so my shoes are soaked, and I end up with freaking blisters on the bottom of my feet. But I got Jimmy a suit. He looked dope as hell. Jimmy's not, the most fashionable person in the world. So when he showed up, people that he knows at the event, he got like 10 compliments on his suit. He booked a bunch of podcast guests from the bad marketing event because he's like, dude, I'm just watching you run around. You're a beast, man. He's like, you got like 12 people invited, like the biggest people in the room. I'm like, yeah, dude, get out there. Like, stop playing fake poker. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
you're gambling with not real money. I'm like, it's already bad enough to gamble with your money. I'm like, this is even worse. Would you get out there and network?
It's funny.
That's right. You said that to our group at one point. I also felt like that too. I'm like, what? This is just a distraction.
Yeah, like what is happening right now? Like, is this what you're here for? But anyway, so dude, I just want to say like, thanks for the invite to that event. Like one of the like best, when like start of a relationship, right? Like we met each other maybe like a week prior, and then you're like, here, come to this exclusive freaking ClickFunnels bad marketing black tie event. There's only 1,000 people. It's invite only. I'm like, let's go. And then we had a great week at Funnel Hacking Live. Did a bunch of fun shit together. So definitely epic first month of a friendship. You're the man.
Facts, G.
But yeah,
Likewise, bro.
like what else happened? What else did you get into outside of when we were chilling at Funnel Hacking Live? Like anything fun?
Yeah, it was so fun. I mean, just the caliber of the people there was insane. I just love how everyone's like raising each other up and making each other, better. I mean, we had Ty Lopez at that party,
Yeah.
for example, and just the biggest guys in the game. Like a lot of like gurus online, like selling offers that are cranking. Like Ty Lopez said to one of my friends, he's very point blank because he's like a lot of guys for that event like took private jets in, like Dan Henry and stuff. And so he's doesn't really care about acting anymore. He'll just say to you point blank first thing, be like, "How much money do you make, bro?" I'm trying to decide if he like, wants to like talk to you further. Because I mean, it sounds shallow, but it's actually not, because he's trying to gauge how interesting of a conversation he can have with
Yeah.
you based off of the skill and experience level that you have with business. So it actually makes sense in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then my homie was like 200K a month. He's like, yeah, that's awesome, man. And then moved on to someone else.
Ty's a beast, man.
But
I got a selfie with him.
nice. So you got
Yeah,
in, okay.
yeah, I got his. We connected over WhatsApp, but yeah, we'll eventually try to have him on the podcast. He's super cool.
Oh yeah, he's super down to earth and just open, accepting of everybody.
Hmm. So I'm kind of curious, man, and I know we started on a dark note. I don't want to go back to a dark note because you guys are just fun, funny guys. But something that always resonates deeply with me is the topic of sobriety and being free of like substance abuse. We call them addictions, but sometimes they're addictions, right? So, I would love to hear a little bit more about like your journey to sobriety and like how that impacted your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, so basically, I was really never addicted hardcore, but I mean, sure, like in college and stuff, I would, participate in like smoking weed and stuff like way too frequently to the point where like, yeah, some would consider it an addiction and stuff. But I did pull myself out of that like way before I even considered going 100% sober. So for me, it was less of like, oh, I have a major problem, I'm just going to go cold turkey one day and then start counting the days and like make posts on Facebook, which I respect and stuff. But I actually started this spiritual path right when I discovered these two mentors that were making 200 to 400K a month I lived with. Their live-in roommate, who was a dating coach, he introduced me to this like really awesome spiritual school. And I joined this year-long class called Kabbalah, which is like a class that like many of the ascended masters took, including like Jesus and like Buddha and stuff. And so I learned about like these keys of like the universe and stuff. And I just found myself doing it less and less the more I like healed. And also I started to get way more successful way quicker, not necessarily correlated to sobriety, but just the spiritual path in general. And then,
Is it David Guillaume or is it somebody else? Because I know he talks about Kabbalah a lot. I've been watching a lot of his
oh,
interviews. Like
no
I've
way.
been watching the David Guillaume Lewis Howe's podcast interview like multiple days. Like we'll only watch like 15 minutes because we don't want to like overload ourselves with information. So we watch like 15 minutes a day so we can retain it all because it's really powerful stuff, man. I actually haven't
Wow.
I haven't listened to somebody that understands things at that level spiritually and like in a long time. Like in 2015, I had a spiritual mentor. He was a 33rd degree Rosicrucian. He was knighted, and he also was like a NASA aerospace engineer when he was like in his teens. So he had like a very deep, like esoteric perspective on spirituality, but also the scientific side of things, and the way that he blended the two together, like was really dope. But this is probably the first person that I've heard talk at this level about his understanding of all that stuff since. Was that the guy or was it somebody else?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's talking about the same exact path. I mean, there are different flavors of Kabbalah. Like when people hear Kabbalah, they think Jewish, but it's actually from like universal hermetics.
Mhm.
And so it can be, applied to whatever. It's a bolt on for whatever current belief system you already have. It's just more of just like a way of life. And so I took a year-long class with daily homework that just like ripped me from the inside out. I mean, it was super hard, uncomfortable, like it was a rite of passage. I'm going through this spiritual rite of passage while I'm writing, and I'm working for 531 days straight with these rich people, and completely transformed me. I was a different person at the end of it, and I was actually the smashing success story at the very end of the class. Everyone still talks about me as the guy who got the most results. It's just because I did the work.
Mhm.
If you just follow the process, you're good. And so I started feeling better. And then, yeah, I just started doing it less and less. And then one day I was just like, okay, I guess I I'm not doing it anymore because I haven't. That's it.
I don't have the desire to.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
nothing against it though.
Something to be said about showing up and doing the work, right? Like everybody wants the results, but they don't want to actually put in the work. They want something quick, easy. Like, I'll tell you right now, I got one of my team members just joined your coaching program. You gave me access just because you're cool as shit, and it's for my company anyway. But and when I'm not busy, I hop on the coaching calls, and I'm like texting him. I'm like, dude, are you coming on the coaching call? Like, do you want to get the results that you're here to get, or what? Like, why am I on the coaching call? Like, I don't want to learn copy. Like, that's your job. Go do your job. So,
No, he's asking lots of questions, and so yeah, we're taking care of him. But yeah, I would encourage him to actually show up to the calls because that's where you can get way more personalized
yeah, for
feedback.
sure. Well, yeah, that's what I told him. I'm like, man, dude, I'll tell you what, like the coach that we work with right now, right? Like we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary with Josh 40, right? And I'll tell you what, like out of the 30K that we paid him, it was 25 to join the year-long coaching program, and then it was 5K additional to have Voxer access. And I'll tell you right now, 80% of my results have come from that additional 5K to have the proximity and the Voxer access. Like you can go through the content, that's great. But if you can't get the feedback in real time, and like that's the difference even beyond like say like a WAP community, right? Which is awesome and your community is dope. But that direct access, if you can pay extra for it, man, like put that extra money into it, man, because that direct access, that direct feedback loop, that proximity, everything, right? Like that extra 5K is worth at least 80% of the 10x ROI I got on that 30. So
That's a good
anybody out
point.
there
Yeah,
listening, man, make sure like if you're going to buy into something, buy all in. And if there's a bonus that gets you closer to that coach, that person, and you know that this is going to get you the results that you want to get, spend that extra 5K, spend that extra 10K to get that closer proximity because there's an exponential return on that proximity and that quicker feedback loop.
I love that. Yeah, that's a fantastic point because people will try to like think they can save money. Like, obviously the very beginners, like, oh, I'll just watch YouTube videos, or even the more advanced people, like, oh, I'll buy the low ticket only and try to do it myself. It's like you're actually wasting a lot of opportunity costs that you would have saved just getting the shit done quicker
Yeah. I
with the
tell people
guru.
all the time, I'm like, you're going to pay with your time or your money. Like it's the only way, like one or the other. So you can put more money towards it and then dedicate the time to what you paid for or whatever. But like, again, the universe demands balance, man. What you put in is what you're going to get out. So put in as much as you can if you want to get a lot out of it.
So true. I didn't know we had so much in common. Like we just got along like for a lot of other
Yeah.
ways, reasons.
Yeah, man. So, Josh, I don't know. I know you had, some questions that you always like to ask. I know we're kind of going off on these little tangents because we're broing out here and stuff, but I want to make sure we get all the interview questions.
Oh, I know a good one too. Like interesting story you have with a mentor, maybe, and I want to hear you guys too.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Well, yeah. So with my first mentor, when I made my first 20K month a couple years ago, I called him with a tear in my eye, and I'm just like, dude, you're working 12 hours a day. You took time out of your day to help me. Like, what can I ever do to repay you back? And he looked at me back on the call and he's like, Christian, just promise me that you give back to other people the same way I gave back to you. And that like hit me deep.
So,
And like, I have to filter and be careful with who I give that energy to. But if you do get close to me and you pass the filters, meaning like you're hardworking, you're showing you want to do whatever it takes, you'll put your money where your mouth is, I'll take good care of you because this is personal for me.
yeah, that's
Mm,
awesome. I
that's some
love
really good advice. Yeah. Um, and I've had so many mentors growing up. I had my first mentor at 14 who taught me basically how to write sermons and how to speak from stage. And that's a gift and a skill set that's followed me many different areas in my life, even into this business, like being willing to, do webinars with no preparation and stuff like that. And
it.
specific instances with with that mentor or any mentor, I mean, I've had a lot of specific instances like where there were growing moments. I do remember one instance that I had with this mentor, and it was when I was kind of feeling like I was starting to outgrow him. I was young, I mean, like below 17, and he was really my mentor for like 3 years. And I remember one time we were getting really kind of um, starting to grow up just a little bit, starting to develop a bit of an ego. And I remember this one time that he was calling me out on some stuff, and I said to him that I didn't really feel like I owed him an explanation um, for my behavior. And I remember that was one of the most hurtful things that I said to him because he had invested so much time in developing me. And then for me to tell him that I didn't feel like I owed him an explanation was almost kind of like me giving up on him. And that was actually the beginning of the end of our relationship, I feel like. And some other things ensued after that. And, you know, I still occasionally communicate with that mentor. But this concept of finding somebody, well, really more so than like that dynamic or that interaction I had with them, it was shining a light on the corner of like you'll have mentors for specific seasons of your life. And I'm sure that, we've all experienced that. Like it's not that you've learned everything that you could learn from the individual, but you learned everything that you needed to get you to that next level. Um, and then somebody with the next, you hear people say like don't get a mentor that's, you know, 20 steps above you, get a mentor that's 5 to 10 steps above you, you know? So it's like relevant in terms of proximity and experience and like what, they can help you duplicate. And so, I mean, man, I kind of felt like with that mentor, my first mentor, I got everything that for where I was in that season of my life out of that relationship. And, at this point in my life, we need people who are at doing and having success in the relevant, realms of experience that we're trying to have. And so, this concept of looking for mentors, developing relationships, like right now, Reef is kind of a mentor for us
Yeah,
accidentally. And dude, just listening to him talk and how he thinks about things is
he's a
like
beast.
it's a breath of fresh air. And it's like what we need right now.
Full the level of servant leadership that it just radiates off of him is something that I've never experienced personally.
Yeah.
He's
I love
he's
him.
an incredible person. Um, so we're having a lot of fun. Thanks for that intro too, man. What the hell?
Yeah.
Anytime, man. If I get invited to something cool, you're coming with me. Both you
Let's
guys.
go. Let's go.
We were on his Friday AI chat earlier today, and we're doing a training next Friday for that little community, and it's exciting, man. So
Likewise,
but
by the
right
way,
now,
anything cool that we get invited to, obviously you're down to.
absolutely.
We're
Thank
with
you.
each other now, bro. Speaking of, we might be. I think we're going to be speaking at Akbar Sheik's AI mastermind in Dallas in May. You want to speak? Let's go.
Wow. Yeah, dude, I would love to. That's on my list. Like I have presentations ready to go, so I could formulate that. I'm doing them all. I'm doing a lot anyway, just not on stage yet. I've done a couple on
Nice.
stage when I got some awards,
Yeah, man.
but
When I get more details about it, if I'm pretty sure he'd be open to having more people. I don't think he's filled up yet. So,
thank you.
hmm
So, Christian, right now, where is your focus currently? Like over the next year, 2025, what are some of the major boulders that you're hoping to move in your business?
Yeah, so for me, my goals have never really been just about like monetary value. It's been more about like impact. And then the more impact I bring, like the more rich I make my clients, like, the more money I get in return. So it goes back to, that's how I got my first few clients too, was besides just the one I told you about, like that became my process. Go to an event, meet the guy who's running the event, approach him, dap him up and tell him the same thing. I want to make you rich and make it about him, and lead with serving. And then people just started throwing money my way. And so this next year, it's about that as well, but like serving on a bigger platform. So now I have this program called Full Stack Email Marketer. It's a paid coaching program with 10 calls a month. And you learn the holy trinity of email marketing, which is tech, strategy, and of course, A-list copy. And that way I'm able to help a lot more people, like freelancers, go from where they are to 25K a month consistently. And also it teaches them how to get the best results for their clients. Because right now we have a really big issue where everyone knows how to do copywriting, but nobody knows how to actually send the emails or get a client out of spam. And they're probably sending them into spam without knowing it. And so, yeah, just however I can help the most people, the better. And that's why I'm also going big on social media this year.
Mhm. Cool, man. So really making sure it sounds like the big, and that's a battle we're facing right now is spam filtering and spam flagging, and that's part of a crusade that we're on right now is to remove all AI communication from Twilio and other platforms that are going to be spam flagged or get shut down or reduce conversions. So it's interesting, like you can teach somebody 80% of the skill set to make them a world-class copywriter. But literally, if your tech stack and everything, like the few little things that you got to do on the tech side aren't dialed in, all of your skill set can be mitigated. And
Oh yeah, exactly. And like from the dark side, like that's the dangers of it, but also from the positive side, like when you contextually like know every piece of the process, you can blend all three skills into one simple hack that will improve things across the board. Like here's an example of like deliverability, strategy, and copy. You can put test in the subject line of your email, especially if you're doing like a re-engagement email. And a lot of email service providers will already put test in the subject line when you're sending a test send. And lots of people are clicking and opening their test sends. So it kind of bypasses or it inboxes way better than a lot of other subject lines, majority of them. So you can get a higher open rate, hit spam less, reach more people. And yeah, so you can also inside the email, you use any excuse you can to get away with saying test. So you just say like, hey, would you like to test out our offer with X guarantee, whatever it is? Or would you like a sample? Or would you like to just come back to us? There's lots of different ways you can word it. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's just
So
a
just
small
literally
taste.
including the language of testing and the nature of it. So it sounds like that more so than just like domain registration, name servers, all that fancy stuff. It the algorithm that scans all the emails going in and out literally looks for words like that in the subject line in the body of the email.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, hey, how how many instances in the past has this type of email been spam? Oh, very, very, very little. Okay, cool. Inbox that to a lot of people. And then the cool thing is every time someone opens the email, like let's say it's a re-engagement email, it's the super old leads that haven't opened in a long time. Now, as soon as they open once, they're back in your ecosystem. And a lot of people will reply this email and say, oh, wow, I don't know where you went. Like, I think you're in my spam folder. Like, I'm so glad you're back. And so there's lots of other
Mm,
tech like hacks you can do as well, but that's like a sample of a copy one.
sure. And that's the kind of stuff that you put people on inside your coaching program. All the little hacks and stuff.
Exactly, because like when you're full stack, you understand holistically the entire account, and so you're able to like target the problem or grab the lowest hanging fruit like very easily and just like run it up as far as you can and then move to the next thing. When you have three people working together, like a copywriter, a tech person, and then like a marketing strategist. The marketing strategist usually doesn't know that much about email marketing. The tech person like knows how to avoid hitting spam, but they don't know anything about copy. Then the copywriter's in the dark and they're not actually the tech person doesn't even know how to segment correctly in most cases. Like very few people do. And so that's how I'm able just to clean the hell up and get all these clients is because I'll do a screen share into their account. They'll show me what's going on. I'll say, oh, you can get an 18% lift here. Like that'll more than cover my fee. Let's run it. And yeah, it's actually easy when you boil it down like that.
I like that. Yeah, being able to be like, yeah, here's the one thing that's going to get you a lift. that covers how much I cost, and everything is just sheer profit from there.
Yeah, instead people are all trying to be copywriters and they're just getting buried in the saturated market. And like, especially with AI coming out now and like copywriting being more of a commodity, like it's just not the same anymore. But being a full stack email marketer is literally AI proof because someone has to always operate the strategy and the AIs within the system. So it's crazy.
See,
Like it comes so easy when, when who would have thought if you focus on getting your clients results, you can just get a lot of clients very easily, right? All
I
right.
know it sounds so dumb, but these artistic types like can't wrap their head around the tech unless they get shown how to do it. And that's what we do.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like that's why we have such amazing relationships with our clients, and we've been able to accomplish so much in such a short amount of time. Like we came out of nowhere like a year or so ago. Now we're like, running a support call for GHL every Thursday for their entire AI, rollout and all that crap. It's like, okay, well, maybe
Wow.
you should focus on like reciprocity and like actually getting amazing results for people, and you might be able to go a little quicker too. It's so much
Beast.
fun to like hop on a sales call and be like you said, man, like here's how I can get you an 18% increase that covers my cost. It's like, dude, if you're not focused on like at least a 2 to 4x ROI in like 90 days or less, then you need to go back and like sharpen your skills a little bit more before you keep making offers.
Yeah, that's the problem. Everyone's focused, and not just copywriters, but in lots of industries, everyone's
Part of it's
focused
your
on
fault because you're
me.
the top affiliate for the $100 million offers book. So you propagated all the bullshit.
Yeah, dude. I know. Shit. That's really changed the market, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. There need
maybe.
All the off.
book needs to be $100 million deliverables and ROI for your clients. Plug that to Alex.
Where's my guarantee, bro? I'm
Yeah,
not buying until I get a guarantee.
yeah. I'll
I'll
pay you
work for
five grand
free
for
until you're
wasting your
rich.
time. The whole risk reversal ad bullshit. Like,
I'll pay you 5K
you know,
every time
you know, 5x.
if we don't get any results. It's ridiculous. Like,
Good
no,
times
I'm
out
actually
here in
good
the
at that
fucking
objection.
marketing world.
Right? Jeez.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can word that correctly. Like, what do you say, for example, if someone wants a guarantee? Like, let's say we're doing like biz op, because like business owners, it's a little bit different. Obviously, you have to get them a result. And then with biz op also, but it's more on them versus you
my
because it's done
guarantee
with
is
you,
by
not.
the end of the call, if I can't make you money, I'm not going to make you an offer. That's my
I
guarantee.
love that.
Like,
That's
Yeah,
so
I mean,
good.
not going to ask you
I'm sure.
have a great day. Maybe I'll refer you off to somebody else if you're not a good fit. My guarantee is that if I make you an offer, you're going to get results. And I stand on that. Ask any of my clients.
Yeah,
Same.
dude, like
Yeah.
the guarantee is like if you continue down the same path, you will continue getting the same results.
Facts. And
It is. And so that's they're just like yeah. It's like
And the other
I'm
guarantee
well,
taking
the
the other guarantee is, dude, like you think do you think that your 30K is more valuable to me than the relationship I have with GHL that gives me access to 1.3 million users? Because if you don't get results and you bitch, then it's bad for my reputation and it may cost me that relationship. So there's your guarantee.
I love
1.3
that. That's
million
so
users that
fire.
I can sell whatever I want to because I have such a great relationship.
Yeah, that's fire as heck. Like, what would you say, for example, on like a biz op call where someone's like, please, bro, get me to 10K a month. I'll do anything, but where's my guarantee that this isn't a scam?
I'd say I use Complyly, and the FTC is not going to be happy with this conversation. So can we reroute?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, agreed. Because what kind of a statement is that? It's like,
yeah, man. It's just so interesting. It's like it's a formula, it's a recipe. It's like you're currently doing things one way and you do things another way with increased leverage, increased effectiveness, a different strategy. there's no way if you start doing a new way, you're going to get the same results. So it's like either you just want to stay where you're at and you're window shopping, uh, or you're serious and you're going to do this. And I think come back to what Kevin said is a lot of buyers don't recognize that oftentimes service providers, coaches, any business really honestly take on equal, if not more, risk than the client's dollars because of their reputation.
That's a beautiful way to word it. And isn't that the truth?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, like I've worked with agencies before that would be like, oh, you want to cancel before our little 2 week period? Well, I'm charging another 5K or something you can say about it. It's like, dude, you just slaughtered the relationship like over
Mm-hmm.
5K. It's like, now you're going to be in their mouth forever. It's like, was it really worth it?
Yep.
Nah. Dude, we're
No,
all
it
about
ain't.
reputation here, baby. That's why we're on this call. That's why
I'd
we're
rather just
boys.
refund you, dude. Like
Yeah,
I think
same.
the quickest was 24 hours. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have signed you up as a client. Here you go. Bye.
Facts.
Show me any
Yeah.
weird red flags. I'm all set, dude. I have a lot of clients that I get amazing results for, and I'm very proud of my track record and my stats. I'm out here trying to bat 1,000. Don't be fucking with my stats.
Yeah, dude, it's just like whenever I used to play like Call of Duty with my brother and I would get on the same account with him and I would screw up his KD, his kill death ratio, and then he would always come in and just like start bitching at me, be like, "You're messing up my KD. You know, like quit dying
What
so
the?
much. Be better."
That's it. Yeah. We're in a KD game where it's like you can't lose.
No. That's hilarious.
You can always go back.
Yeah. It's
Let's go.
facts
So I'm curious,
plays.
Christian, like it's I don't know how long you want to go here, but I'm kind of curious to dig a little deeper. From what you've gone through up to this point in your life, successes, trials, getting sober, all that good stuff. For let's say like the entrepreneur that's starting out, that's where you were a number of years ago, what advice would you have for them?
Good question, man. So the stage of the journey they're in is just getting started, to be specific.
Yeah, yeah. Hanging out with nobodies, hanging out with losers, doesn't know a strategy. What can they start doing?
Dude, that's a super good question. I'm going to answer this way differently than everyone else. I'm not going to be like, don't procrastinate, blah, 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 all that BS that we all know. I'm going to say, be conscious about how you interact with high level people and really try to put yourself in their shoes. The better you get at putting yourself in other people's shoes, the more money you make. Sales, copywriting, literally everything. And so be cognizant of that. So, like, for example, I live in this skyrise in St. Pete, like on the water. I can see the bay right here. And that's actually funny. There's like a race going on. They look like a bunch of little Hot Wheels going around a track. It's kind of trippy. But people in my building will approach me and be like, "Oh, dude, please help me. Like, I got to quit my job. Like, I want," and they're not like low level people. Like, it's expensive to live here, but they still don't have that awareness of like, what a value are you providing me? Like, people, not even just me, but like people like you guys as well. Like, we all have priorities in life, and you have more options available, the more successful you get. So the amount of beginners that approach you with reasons why they want your attention will never get our attention, So how about you deliver value? And so I apply the same philosophy to people that are higher level than me, like Daniel Fazio with ListKit and Client Ascension lives in my building. He's 25, making $1 million a month. The way I approach him is I'm like, I'll always make him laugh. I'll send him something funny, or I'll provide value, be like, "Hey, I'm with like these hot girls on the rooftop. You want to come?" So it's like, it's not like necessarily business value, but it's like, hey, how can I make his life funner?
Mhm.
And I'll do that for anybody, but especially, my boys. So just, and then here's the worst thing you can do as a beginner. Like you can approach someone like me or you guys and be like, hey, so I read this book and I was thinking about taking action on this. Like, give me all the info on this and just hammer them with questions. The last thing on earth I want to hear is I'm thinking about doing. When you come to me, the only thing I want to hear from your mouth is what you did. And if you
Yeah.
say to me, here's what I did and this happened, and what do you think about that? I'm more than happy to answer, because now you're not wasting my time anymore. Even though this is still about you, I'm helping you push the needle in your life and getting you forward. So like
Yeah.
that's a goal for me. Sure, I'll help you get forward. But if you haven't done shit and you're wasting my time with useless questions like, oh, is this the exact software you said, bro? Like, you're wasting your time and my time. You don't even freaking know it. Go back to reading your self-improvement books and get stuck with the little dogs. Like, get stuck forever just reading, while the rest of us are building funnels like in a matter of an hour.
So get your hands dirty with and be intentional with the people that you meant to like and network with and the people that you approach. Seek to add value first.
Because they will change your life. People are approaching them from completely the wrong way. Like, they'll be like people will say, for example, like, oh, I want to sit down on a sales call with you and this other guy making $1 million a month. But I have nothing going on and I'm broke and I just want some feedback. And eventually when I have money, I'll want to close with you. It's like, dude, like, I hit up one of my friends I'm like, hey, I got this billionaire on the line and I need help closing him on your software. I'll just take a cut on it. My guy who's making $1 million a month was just like, dude, sorry, that's not worth my time. I don't care who this billionaire famous actor is. So it's like, who are you then if these guys don't care about famous people?
Mm,
And that just should be motivation.
mm. That's good, man.
It's the truth.
That's some really
Sorry
good
if you don't want to
advice.
hear it.
No, no, we need to hear it.
Let's fucking go, man. The truth is the first step to moving forward and actually understanding like how to get value from these people, because man, they'll change your freaking life from the inside out
Yeah, I will. The truth hurts
of what's
sometimes, man. People don't want to be called out on their shit. I know it hurts. I have been called out more than the average person on stuff, and it's made me a better person every step of the way. But it sucks each time I get it, and I can't say I don't have visceral reactions towards Kevin when he calls me out on stuff. But I know that it's always in our best interest, and he sees things from reference points that are, you know, a decade plus in advance that I have. So,
Hey, chill.
he's okay, I'm sorry, only five
No,
years.
I'm just fucking with you. I don't care, dude. I love being 40. Fuck it.
Yeah, dude. And so it's like learning to lay down your ego with people who are ahead of you and like take the good, leave the bad, neglect your ego, don't let it make you butthurt, even if what they said isn't entirely accurate. It's like, okay, what can I extract from this that is constructive? And then don't hold it
Also,
against them and
be cognizant of your triggers, because that's God trying to tell you something.
yeah, exactly. It's like, why am I getting triggered about this?
Right?
It's like,
Think about
well,
think about who you get pissed off at the most versus, like if somebody I don't know says something stupid to me, I just keep it pushing. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. But if my wife says that same thing to me, like, and it hurts, it triggers me, I'm like, damn, there's something in there. I should be looking into this, right? Like, ugh,
mm,
right?
yeah, true. Like, honestly, what we're triggered by, yeah, has the biggest impact on us. And that was part of the spiritual path of Kabbalah for me, is that it just like pulls out everything like you get triggered by and you just like completely transform as a person. And time blows by. Like, I don't even recognize myself from 5 years ago. My entire lifelong goal was to make 8K a month. I thought that I would be living like a king when I did that. And now like 8K a month is like, holy shit, like we're right next to the homeless shelter pretty much.
it's so true, man. Yeah, you got to keep it. You got to keep it pushing whenever you start making more money. It's like lifestyle inflation is definitely a real thing, and you want to scale your business. You're not going to get there at the same like. You need more resources. You need a bigger team. You need more coaches. You need more software. Like you got to reinvest and to continue climbing. So it's not like Yeah, I'm just gonna and dude, this is one of the things that like pisses me off so bad about like the coaching industry overall is like there's always this, yeah, get to 10 to 20K a month, 5K a month. It's like we did that a couple times, and each time it demands a new level of you if you want to keep it scaling. And so like I feel like coming into this, just saying like, yeah, I just need 20K a month and I'm gonna be free. You go down this path, you may have more money and more flexibility and more lifestyle options, but you are far from free. Like if you want to keep it going, like you now have a responsibility that's more than what your non-entrepreneur lifestyle had. And and so like I feel like that's a big misnomer about like people who get into entrepreneurship thinking that it's gonna be easier once they're there.
Yeah. Oh my God. Isn't that the truth? Like they get this idea built up in their head and they're like, oh man, if I can only get to 8K a month, like then I'll be free and I won't have problems and or 50 or 100K and I'll
Yeah.
just like be living this blissful life. It's like, nah, you're going to grow. You're going to face way more pain, way more struggle,
Mhm.
way more hardship, and you're going to grow like crazy and you're going to love it.
I remember when
Yes.
we had Josh Lyons on the podcast. I don't remember if it was on the podcast he told the story or if maybe I just saw it on one of his reels because like Joshua and I like send each other his shit back and forth all the time because he's a sales beast. But he was talking about like one time he was like I don't know teetering at like 100K a month or whatever, and he was like he was bitching to his mentor who's like either 100 millionaire or billionaire or whatever, and he's like I got this going on and whatever, and he's like, dude, he's like, I gotta pay $19 million in lawsuits in the next 48 hours. Get bigger problems. Like that's just
Let's
so new.
go.
Like like new dude, at every new level you have to become who you need to be able to sustain that like new altitude, right?
Whoa.
Or God's bouncer is gonna kick you out of VIP and back into fucking general admission, dude. If you don't
Dude.
have the right bracelet,
Yeah.
you didn't earn your way in.
I love that. That reminds me of a clever investor story I heard yesterday on the School of Hard Knocks. He's like, dude, I was in my mansion on the water and I had like 200K to my name, but I had an 800K payroll bill due in a few days and a 300K credit card bill. And like, I'm just like, he said he was crying his eyes out in his theater room in his mansion and because it's due the next day. And he's like, he called a mentor and the mentor was like, listen, like just you asked for this life, like this is what you get, like just use sales. Sales can solve literally anything. So he hung up the phone. He called the bank the next morning. He's like, please, 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 just like postpone my payment a few days. Like I'm going to launch a new offer. He rallied the sales team, got out to his audience, launched the offer and made the money back, paid off the bills.
Yep.
Crazy, man. What we got to do as entrepreneurs, it's like, and dude, one thing that I'm a firm believer on is that if God brought you here, because I believe entrepreneurship is a calling and a form of ministry. Um, and if God brought you here, he won't he won't desert you in your time of need. Like, dude, there's been multiple times where Kevin and I have been backed up right against the wall, like, how the hell are we gonna do this? And then it's like we can sense it in the air. Something's coming. And then that day we close the deal. And it's just we're good, you know? And it's just every time that's happened. And so it can it like and eventually, the goal is to build the business in a way that you don't get to those points anymore. You have monthly recurring revenue, you have reserves, you have, less significantly less expenses and overhead than you do profit and revenue. And so but when you do get to that point, being able to like if you've been there multiple times, not freak out. Now ours wasn't $1 million, $19 million, but everything is relevant to like the scale at which you're at. Like 19K for us might be $19 million for the guy that has $100 million a year business. And so everything is relevant, but like when you've not dealt with that level, that new levels come new devils, like you've not dealt with that level of responsibility, it's a different game. But like 19K can sometimes feel like that much whenever your revenue is not at that point. You know what I mean? So
Man,
um
it's faith over fear. if you don't crack, you don't get kicked back. I'm dropping bars over here.
Hey,
Oh,
it's a bar. You don't crack, you don't
dang.
get kicked back. I like that.
Oof. I love that.
That's a good
Isn't
one.
that the truth?
It is. Yeah. Any other entrepreneurship misnomers that you want to call out before we start wrapping up?
Misnomers like myths and stuff for beginners.
Yeah. Or experience like, mid-level entrepreneurs, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, the biggest thing I see is that I'll like take over a nine-figure client's email marketing and then they won't have like segmenting figured out or super dialed in or a robust customer journey. So they're spending like, you know, one client spent like 9 mil in a couple of weeks last month and like for an event. And then yeah, a lot of them just don't have like a robust map to like get the money back. And so a lot of them are living off of front end offers, like the really successful guys. And I've even have screenshots of clients saying we thought email was dead before you joined, before I increased everything by 253%. I also took a client from 13K a month to 313K cash collected the first 60 days with them. And the first day I signed, I'm replacing Jordan Belford's VSL writer. And he's like, look, I'm very fire happy, the guy who hired me. So this could be our last month. It's like our first. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I kept him for 10 months and like just completely blew him up.
What a rock star, dude.
So that's like more advanced for sure. Like I've also has horror stories. Like, I have a unique position. I won't name names, but I see the inside of very successful businesses from the outside, but like really they're on the fringe of crumbling because they thought they were just ads whizzes and they could just run off ads and live off ads for their entire life. But then when an election cycle hits and now the ads are not working and they haven't sent a single email despite the list having hundreds of thousands on it, now we're scrambling just to keep the company alive. And so companies that were doing like hundreds of thousands a month are considering shutting down, so it's just weird. It's really wild, the stuff I see out there.
Yeah, so email your freaking list and call your leads. Is that's the that's the advice.
Call your leads, like take advantage of the people that you're paying money for and like, don't sweep under the rug like effective strategy in email marketing. Like get someone who actually knows what they're doing. Like if you try to save a couple $1,000s a month, then a lot of these people end up sending you to spam and then you have a huge problem. All it takes is one wrong email to send you into spam. Now you're like hurting for weeks and your revenue's like cut by 70%. And you need an expert to come in there and like fix it and make sure to prevent it. Like the cheapest way to like remedy a problem is just to pay for prevention. So like get someone in there who actually knows what they're doing, can maximize
Hmm.
every last dollar and justify their rate for you every single week with North Star KPIs and a qualitative report and a quantitative report explaining everything about the data. And then you'll be in a better position. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Russell
Nice.
talks about find the who, not the how, man. The how can always, almost every time, turns out to be more expensive in the long run.
Big facts. Yeah, I definitely prefer talking about like nine-figure stuff versus like beginner stuff. So, yeah, whenever you want to have me back and we can just dap it up about the big stuff, let me know.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man, we do need to have another episode where we go a lot deeper into some of that stuff. And so why don't you tell the audience where they can, find you? We'll obviously have your stuff in the bio of this video for YouTube and Spotify and everything, and just anything you free gifts or whatever you might want to shout out.
Yeah, so basically you can follow me on my socials at Christian the Copywriter on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. And then also I have a masterclass on how to make 25K a month as a copywriter, like consistently though, like month after month, and actually get clients on retainer that stay 12 plus months. And all you do is go to fullstackemailmarketer.com/6 dash figure dash copywriter. You can go there. Also, I have a free course for anybody. You can go to freeemailcourse.io give me your info and information. I'll send over the free course to you right away.
Nice. That's awesome. We'll put those two links in the bio for everybody so they can take advantage of those two things. That's awesome. Thank you, Christian.
I
Yeah,
got you
man.
guys. Just my way of
And
giving back.
part two, we'll schedule sometime other than like Friday afternoon because I started to lose steam halfway through this thing here, and my brain was like, no more words. So
Yeah, you're good. I grabbed an energy drink, but yeah, let's dap it up next time for sure. Like I'm down for another in like a month.
all right,
Sweet, dude. Hopefully we can do the next one in person.
here, Christian, hang back
Hey,
a couple minutes. Thanks for tuning in, guys.